ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the debut episode here of All Elite Digital on YouTube. Tonight, we will have two matchups to determine who will be moving on to the semifinals of the All Elite Digital World Championship Tournament. So without further ado, let's see our first match of the night. Alright, and on his way to the ring right now, you see him there. It is the Kentucky gentleman, Chuck Taylor. Now, speaking with Chuck Taylor earlier in the night, he was extremely ecstatic to get here to the All Elite Digital Arena to compete for the All Elite Digital World Championship and to represent Best Friends. Chuck Taylor, this year here in 2022, will mark him as a 20-year professional here in the world of professional wrestling. Chuck Taylor has been around the world. Chuck Taylor has seen it and done it all. Can he hold it down for Best Friends here tonight against one of the most underrated talents in professional wrestling today? And of course, when we say underrated talents, we are talking about this man, the son of a gun, Austin Gunn. Now, Austin Gunn did only just make his debut in professional wrestling back in 2019, so only a 3-year pro, but his father, Billy, has passed on some genetic superiority onto him over most of his opponents. So, tonight, could we see the beginning of the Austin Gunn legacy here in All Elite Digital? Or can the Kentucky gentleman use his 20 years of experience to stunt the growth of one Austin Gunn? Well, we're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. It is Chuck Taylor. It is Austin Gunn. First round matchup here tonight for the All Elite Digital World Championship Tournament. And the bell has sounded. We are underway here in the All Elite Digital first round matchup for this All Elite Digital World Championship Tournament. Chuck Taylor is seeming to try and pin down Austin Gunn, but Austin Gunn seems a little too quick for Chuck Taylor right now. But Taylor does fire back with a huge German suplex. Now, what Chuck Taylor needs to do is just use his 20 years of experience to try and hinder the momentum and the strength of Austin Gunn, because I feel like Austin Gunn has a little bit of a strength advantage over the Kentucky gentleman. But we see Chuck Taylor there with a huge vertical suplex, driving Austin Gunn to the mat, brings him back up, and he's looking to do it again, and is extremely successful there. Little bit of a cocky pin there. I think he's taking Austin Gunn just a little too lightly here. I don't think that's something you should really do, because of all the experience Austin Gunn's father has put over to him. It's just a matter of time before Austin Gunn can catch someone off guard, just like he almost did with that spear there. Now, Austin Gunn seeming to be back in pure control of this matchup. He has just goozled Chuck Taylor there on that top rope and is going right on the attack, throwing Chuck Taylor over the top rope. It seems like Austin Gunn is extremely comfortable here on the outside. Chuck Taylor dodges the clothesline. Can Chuck Taylor get some offense going here? Flurry of punches there going after Austin Gunn, but Austin is able to get him in that arm wrench, but just gets taken right back down. The experience of Chuck Taylor really coming into play here. Can Austin Gunn pull it back into his favor? Huge delayed vertical suplex by Austin Gunn, swinging the pendulum back into his favor here on the outside. Referee up to a count of 7, and Austin, very veteran-like maneuver, putting both men back into the ring. he just lets go of that Boston Crab because he knew Chuck Taylor was in the ropes. Great ring awareness from Chuck Taylor. He's got the butterfly suplex in. Austin Gunn, really impressive here tonight. But just as soon as I say something, gets taken down with a huge bicycle kick by the Kentucky Gentleman. Yeah, the arrogance of Chuck Taylor could cost him here. He is not taking Austin Gunn seriously. He was looking for that spinning Falcon Arrow, but Austin Gunn was able to go ahead and counter. Plants him with that Impaler DDT, floating over. 1, 2, and kick out at 2. Austin Gunn almost got Chuck Taylor, and I think Chuck can only really blame himself for this. And Austin Gunn back on the attack, working the neck now of Chuck Taylor. Yeah, and this is exactly what I was fearing. Chuck Taylor not taking Austin Gunn seriously at all, and now look at this. This really could be the rise of Austin Gunn here in All Elite Digital. He has got Chuck Taylor right where he wants him, but as soon as I say that, Chuck Taylor able to get up and hit a huge bicycle kick there on Austin Gunn. But again, all the posturing is not gonna help Chuck Taylor in this situation. Taylor does knock Austin Gunn to the floor. Can he take advantage of Austin Gunn outside? Austin able to easily fight off Chuck Taylor, but Chuck trying to get one more punch in and runs back into the ring. I don't think Chuck really wants much of Austin Gunn here. Austin does hang Chuck Taylor up on the top rope, and now Austin Gunn back on the attack on Chuck Taylor. This is not a good spot for the 20-year vet right now. And there it is, the slingshot suplex by Austin Gunn. Austin dropping the knee right across the chest and neck area of Chuck Taylor. This is not a good situation. Huge spine buster floating over into the pin. Cover 1, 2, and I swear we almost had the biggest upset here in the very first matchup of All Elite Digital. Chuck Taylor was able to kick out, and now Taylor back with an arm drag trying to put Austin Gunn away. He is taking Austin Gunn way too lightly here for his own good. He really needs to get his head back in the game, or Austin Gunn could sneak away with what could be the biggest victory of his career so far. Austin working that arm, not letting Chuck Taylor really get any chance here. Wait, and that big Impaler DDT floating over. This could be it. 1, 2, 3. Austin Gunn with arguably the biggest victory of his 3-year career here against Chuck Taylor. Moving on to the semifinals of the All Elite Digital Championship Tournament. I really feel like we only have Austin Gunn here, or not Austin Gunn, excuse me, we only have Chuck Taylor to blame for this, because Chuck Taylor was taking Austin Gunn too lightly during this entire match. Chuck Taylor probably had several opportunities where he could have put it away, but he decided to posture. He decided to take Austin Gunn too lightly, and with that, we have Austin Gunn moving on to face the winner of tonight's main event, whether it is Danhausen or Shawn Spears. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the one, the only, it's Danhausen. Now, don't let the weird facade fool you. Danhausen, very nice, very evil, here weighing somewhere in the range of at least 300 pounds. Danhausen did make his professional wrestling debut in 2013, looking to use his wealth of experience here tonight to try and weasel a very evil victory away from the chairman, Shawn Spears. Now, if most of you may know, Danhausen right now has a broken leg, but here in the digital realm, we availed all of his injuries, so he is able to compete tonight against this man, the Perfect 10, the chairman, Shawn Spears. Now, the thing about Shawn Spears, he is a household name. Everybody knows who Shawn Spears is, whether it's from his time back in WWE or the work he has been doing here in All Elite Wrestling. Shawn Spears is instantly dangerous in whatever ring he steps in. So tonight, after speaking with Shawn Spears myself in the back, he is laser focused on taking out what he calls a joke in Danhausen, so he can move on to the semifinals of the All Elite Digital Championship Tournament. But I think the thing is, he might be doing the same thing that Chuck Taylor did in the last match, and he could be taking Danhausen just a little too lightly. You gotta look past the facade, you gotta look past the act that Danhausen has here, and realize that he is a very capable wrestler in between those ropes. Well, the bell has rung, and we have Danhausen on the attack here on Shawn Spears, instantly planting Shawn Spears to the mat. And now Spears fights back here, Russian leg sweep, taking down Danhausen. I think the biggest thing we really need to worry about here is if honestly Shawn Spears just takes Danhausen a little too lightly. These two exchanging blows here. Danhausen dodges that huge meat hook clothesline, and now we have some really good chain wrestling here from Shawn Spears with that headlock takeover. Disrespect with the punch to the head and letting Danhausen up. Shawn Spears in control, but Danhausen's able to send him off with an Irish whip into the ropes and hit him with that big clothesline in the corner. Just like that, it looks like the tide has turned to Danhausen, but Shawn Spears able to fight back, a kick to the gut, and what is Shawn Spears going for? He's got him up, and running buckle bomb on Danhausen by the chairman of AEW and now the chairman of All Elite Digital, Shawn Spears. Spears going for the cover early here. Danhausen kicks out before even the 1 count. And this is what I mean by taking Danhausen too lightly. Shawn Spears has all the tools to be able to take out Danhausen and move on in this tournament and possibly be our first All Elite Digital World Champion. But he cannot slack, here on the experience of Mr. Danhausen. Right now, wrenching back on the arms of Danhausen with that knee in the center of the back. Danhausen able to go ahead and counter Shawn Spears, looking for that huge jawbreaker. Danhausen seems to be back in control of this matchup, dragging Shawn Spears to the center of the ring and working that leg of Spears. Danhausen may have an idea of what he wants to target here, and it looks like it could be the legs of Shawn Spears, but Danhausen launching Spears out to the outside of the ring and follows Spears here. Let's see what Danhausen can do on the outside. Big chop, but they exchange chops, and huge super kick by Shawn Spears, taking down Danhausen. Spears now just really punking out Danhausen here on the outside. They tie up. Danhausen able to push away Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears catches the leg, and Shawn Spears now running back into the ring. Spears advantage back to Shawn Spears here, and huge hit in the corner, but Danhausen's able to counter and catch the leg. And Danhausen drops and misses the drop kick here, hitting a huge running neck breaker. Can Danhausen capitalize on the advantage he is building here? Irish whip into the corner. Danhausen has some ideas. Rolling through. Huge roll through German suplex with the bridge. Cover 1, 2. Kick out at 2 by Shawn Spears. Just like that, Danhausen was almost able to pick up a first round victory here in the All Elite Digital World Championship Tournament. Shawn Spears trying to fight back to Danhausen. Now Hausen catches the leg, and again, rolling over into a single leg Boston Crab, but just lets him go. Danhausen seems extremely exhausted here. Could he be setting up for the Goodnighthausen? He's got Shawn Spears up and hits him with Goodnighthausen. Danhausen dragging Shawn Spears to the center of the ring. Cover here. This could be it. Cover 1, 2. Kick out at 2 3/4 by Shawn Spears. Danhausen almost put away the chairman here. Irish whip into the corner. Danhausen clothesline to the back of the neck of Shawn Spears. This could be the chance Shawn Spears needed. Fighting back to Danhausen. Counter in the corner. Big chop from Danhausen. Irish whip to the far corner. And big clothesline from Danhausen here. Danhausen is a Danhausen of fire. Excuse the pun. I'll just go, I'll leave now. Russian leg sweep. Can Danhausen, a smart veteran move by Shawn Spears, but doesn't capitalize on it. Danhausen looking to be able here. Oh, and a comeback sequence here. Clothesline, and big drop kick by Danhausen. Lifting Shawn Spears up. And huge German suplex with the bridge. Danhausen looking for the victory here. 1, 2, 3. Danhausen able to take the victory over Shawn Spears tonight. Let's look at some of the highlights of this matchup. So ladies and gentlemen, what that means is in the semifinals, we will see Austin Gunn versus Danhausen. Now in episode 2, coming here soon, of All Elite Digital, we will have the final 4 participants in the All Elite Digital World Championship Tournament face off to see who will be moving on to the semifinals to join Danhausen and Austin Gunn. But thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more All Elite Digital Wrestling. And until next time, keep fighting on.